Welcome to Sweetcast. I'm Clint, and today I have there's so much to talk about today. My day started off wonderfully with Mark Zaid, which is the super lawyer that is defending Mark Waid right now. So on Twitter, he started spouting off some nonsense. So I chimed in. He keeps calling people alt-right. He keeps calling the Comicsgate movement alt-right. And that bothers me because he's trying to paint with a really broad stroke. Anyway, so I tweeted to him and I said, alt-right is a small group. SJWs are a little bigger, but their influence is wide-reaching. Then there's the rest of us, moderates, normal people with varying opinions, a huge section of humanity. Why is that so hard to understand? Right? Comicsgate is made up of everybody. And I do wish I would have said something slightly different, but I'll get to that in a minute. First, Mark Waid tweeted at me, and, I thought I was making a nice argument there, making a point, and he had to go low. So, here he goes. So his response to me is, your use of the pejorative term SJW in some vague manner, i.e., anyone who disagrees with my view, he says, shows you are not a moderate in the slightest. Maybe an ignorant, but certainly not moderate. Nice try. Okay, so this is the problem. There's this denial in the ultra progressive realm that they're extreme. They deny it. They think that they are the mainstream or that they represent the majority of the country, and that's just not true. So yeah, he called me ignorant. First, before I go on, I went and said I would have changed something here. I said we're moderates. I would correct that and say that we are conservatives, we are moderates, we are liberals, we're libertarians, we're apolitical, we're everything. We are a swath of individuals, and I don't know why they find that so difficult to get their mind around. But yeah, Mark Zaid has a problem with that. So does Mark Waid. So I responded back to him. Social justice warrior is anyone espousing and enforcing the extreme ideology of social justice. Usually SJWs insert their politics into mainstream entertainment, the education system, or anywhere else they can. This isn't anyone who disagrees with me. This is extremism. Okay. So I find it interesting that Mark Zaid is making who knows how much money he's making. And what is he doing with his time? He's on Twitter calling me ignorant. And I know I'm up to what? I've got 26, 27 subscribers, something like that. But he's making sure to take time out of the day to call me ignorant, which is fine because it makes me know that what I'm doing with my time is worthwhile when I've got verified super lawyer coming after me. So let me know what you think. I'm going to jump over to Mark Waid. Oh man, this was hilarious. And before I get into this, I want to direct your attention to the chat. The chat was insane. They had to have had the moderators were really on top of things. They were cutting people out like crazy, deleting comments. And I'm not sure when I first looked at it after the live stream, the chat was gone. Now it's back. So I didn't see a lot of deleted messages. You'll see people inserting these, they're mocking the moderators basically. But I think that they've taken them out. But just know that there were, almost half of all the comments were deleted. So they probably had Thanos there as the moderator. So this is just beautiful. Pay attention to that. But also I wanted to respond to some of Mark Waid's nonsense.
Great. Can you hear my? Can you feel my mind? Can you hear what I'm thinking? Okay, great. All right, guys. As much as we can spend all day talking comics and superheroes, you're here for a very serious reason. Mark, you have unfortunately become the target of a lawsuit.
I have.
Now we know that.
So they start off talking about superheroes and comics, and they're trying to butter us up, and the chat is going insane on the right-hand side. It seems like nobody is happy with Waid. And I'll tell you that during the live stream, there was maybe 25 or 30 likes and something like 500 dislikes. So that was amazing. And the host here says that that's why he's here. He's here to talk about the lawsuit, but they're just sort of tagging it on here at the end.
You have to be careful about what you can say and what you can't say, but the long and short of it is that one of the perceived leaders of the online harassment group, Comicsgate, is suing you for...
The online harassment group. So that's the point of Comicsgate, is it's just a harassment group. I mean, no wonder Mark Waid is being sued for defamation. That is a blatant misunderstanding, willful ignorance of what Comicsgate is about.
For defamation. So what can you tell us about this? What's going on?
There's not much I can say about the lawsuit itself.
Sure.
The concept that there's this toxic level of fandom out there, and that's not news to anybody, unfortunately. I mean, and Gamergate was the big thing, and now it's sort of transformed in comics into Comicsgate.
Yeah.
These guys say
it's killing me. Look at chat over here. Everyone is against it. It's not. You don't understand. Comicsgate is not some fringe group of people. It is your fan base. You're catering to people that don't even read comics. Everybody is upset with you.
They're not bullies, they're not angry or whatever, but you don't go around calling people cucks and SJWs and NPCs.
Those words mean something. I know you might not like being called those names. Yeah, and sometimes people can be nasty. But those words mean something. And turns out there's quite a few things that you have said that are not very kind.
And soy boys, without that, that's the language of a bully. There's just
and he would know.
No way around it.
Yeah.
I've been pretty outspoken against this, and so now it's turned into a lawsuit that hinges a huge part on defamation.
Yeah.
Which is
okay. So he's been outspoken. So his crime is just speaking out against bullies. He's leaving out the tortious interference, and you'll keep seeing that term brought up in chat. And it was crazy because I got timed out personally, I think 4 times in this chat. I never used any profanities. Never even said anything that would be considered, name calling. I would copy and paste the word tortious interference, and I would get shut down. I would, ask a question or say, fix this, fix this now. And you'd get axed here by the moderator. Oh man.
I don't know how you defame someone who has
a history of engaging in this kind of conduct.
Exactly. Who said
engaging in this kind of conduct. What conduct? You haven't even said anything specific. You're just saying this conduct. You're just labeling people as bullies. It doesn't make any sense.
Says that Ta-Nehisi Coates is a race hustler, who says that black people working at Marvel Comics is akin to a minstrel show. I don't know how you defame a guy like that, but that's for the courts to decide.
Sure.
Okay, so there's our first example. There's a specific allegation. I don't know what he's talking about. I promise I will look into it and find out who said it and what exactly he's talking about. But so far, that's it. He's really just painting the whole movement as though the whole movement said those kinds of things.
But along those lines, clearly gotten a lot of hits, gotten a lot of heat.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that to complain. I'm saying it to make the point that I'm a straight white guy.
Oh no. Here it comes. He's now going to tell us, he's going to check his privilege, and tell us that he's privileged, but yet he's still the victim. The mental gymnastics that Waid has to go through to do this is amazing. And I do want to point out, about this time is when the moderators were losing control because of so many comments. Now you're seeing the phrase tortious interference showing up in chat. And it really seemed like the moderators just sort of threw their hands up and gave up because of the sheer volume of comments.
And I'm getting that level from these guys. You can only imagine what women, people of color, LGBTQ, creators in this industry and fans in this industry get, not just from Comicsgate, but toxic fandom in general. I firmly believe the lawsuit was filed specifically to try to intimidate and silence people who are trying.
No, the lawsuit was filed because you committed tortious interference, which is a crime. You interfered in somebody's publishing contract, which you had nothing to do with. You inserted yourself there, and you committed a crime. That is why you're being sued, because the public is not just allowing you to do whatever you want. Diversity in comics, your boy Zach, he's not just rolling over and letting you have your way. People are standing up to you, and that feels like you're being silenced. It's amazing.
Trying to stand up against that sort of behavior and take a stand. So I work in comics. I'm not a rich guy.
Yeah.
Lawsuits are expensive. I launched a GoFundMe about a week ago.
You work in comics. You launched a GoFundMe. So I think that all of the accusations of Waid making money off of this, making money off of people, I think that struck a nerve with him, because you'll notice that his wonderful lawyer, Mark Zaid, he keeps addressing that the money is to support the defense fund. And yeah, so I think if we want to really mock them, you got to keep hitting that point, because obviously they're trying to do some PR here to cover that fund. And I'll point out his GoFundMe, I checked it right after this was finished streaming, and he didn't have any, or at least not notably, not even $1,000 more than there was before the stream. So his plea for money didn't work.
And I've had a lot of. It's been huge, and it's great. The idea is, and Neil Gaiman has contributed, and Colleen Duran, and Gail Simone, Scott Snyder. I could go on and on about my colleagues who have.
Okay, the appeal to authority, because these other writers have donated money for him, that means that he's somehow in the right. That's not at all true. You're not fooling anybody.
Joined in on this fight, because that's the idea. It's help me make this stand. Help me, make the stand that this is not okay. If you can join in, the GoFundMe is up. You can find me, Mark Waid GoFundMe.
And there we go. Now he's begging for money, and that's because your boy Zach has earned more money. I really think that Waid and Zaid are genuinely worried.
If you can jump in there, that's great. It's a lawsuit. There's a long road ahead of us. And those things are not cheap to fight. I'm not poor mouthing. I'm not here to beg with a tin cup as much as I am to say this is a call to action. Come join us. Come join Neil and the rest of us and me and all.
I just got to point out, Nico Kiwan Chan. I'm really sorry if I said your name incorrect. You said, "Hi, Sweetcast." Hi. Great to see you in chat. That was awesome.
All of us who stood up and help us fight back and push back against this sort of toxic online harassment. That's just not cool.
I totally agree. How do you feel about that element of fandom in general? How do you feel about the future? Is there a way that comic book fans and professionals and people that are in the industry, out of the industry, can sort of help make it better?
Okay. this is where I'm seeing, to me, this tells me why Mark Waid is worried. If you'll see, he's softening his stance just a little bit. And it's a beautiful thing to watch.
I think the only thing I can think of is just to try to restrain yourself when you're angry online.
Yeah.
Craig Ferguson had the best rules I've ever heard for online. He would ask himself, he would sit down and say, before he posted something, he would ask himself 3 questions. Does this need to be said? Does this need to be said by me? Mm-hmm. Does this need to be said by me right now? And by the time you answer all 3 of those questions, a lot of your anger is dissipated. So, I'm no stranger to it. I've popped off online. We all have at some point or another.
And he's really minimizing his popping off out online, which now he's paying, a well-paid lawyer to do it for him. So I wish he would spread that advice around.
And the state of the country is just anger all the time. We're all a jack in the box with one note left to go. So I get it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that national dialogue trickles down into everything, including pop culture.
Yeah.
All I can say is I'm redoubling my efforts to try to understand that escalating it is not the answer. Just immediately shifting, going from 0 to you're a Nazi is probably not the best way to go.
Should have thought about that before. And now you have to be accountable for your actions.
Not going to make anything better.
Right.
I don't know how to engage with a certain level of toxic fandom for which there is no good faith argument.
Correct.
Which no matter what.
That's not true. No good faith argument. You've got to be kidding me. Let's jump back to Twitter here. I had a good faith argument. I wasn't calling Zaid names, and he dismisses me and tells me I'm ignorant. We could talk about social justice. I know a lot about social justice. I work in higher education right now. I mean, it is everywhere. I understand the ideology. What we're saying is, you all are the extremists. Mark Waid, you are extreme. And you're trying to gaslight the rest of us into believing that you're in the middle, that you're reasonable. It's not true.
You do to extend a hand, it becomes soy boy, cuck, SJW. I don't know how to deal with that. But well,
I know how you deal with it. Let's just say fix this.
All we can do is try to take the high road as much as we can. And understand that we who love comics and we who are fighting for inclusivity and for diversity, we're in the majority. And we're doing the right thing.
That's not true. You're not in the majority. Look at this comment section. Look at these likes and dislikes. Again, you're trying to make the general public believe that you're in the majority. That's not true. You are a fringe. You are a ideological barnacle on society.
You don't let bullies win.
Yeah. Well said, and that was some great advice as well,
Thanks.
Mark, with how to handle this sort of fandom, and also I think it's great advice for creators, which was going to be my next question.
Okay, so I'm going to skip this last question because I realize that this video is going much longer than I would normally, but I've heard at the end here there's a nice little sign-off from Mark Waid. Let's try it right there. Looking at the camera and putting his hands up, let's see if we can see it.
Oh, good call.
And Instagram, there's places. So I'm doing a lot of work, but I get on social media when I can.
Excellent. Awesome.
Right.
Well, thank you again, Mark. This has been an absolute pleasure. And that's it for today's Talks Back. We'll be back tomorrow with an all-new episode of Nerdist News Talks Back live on YouTube, Alpha, and Twitch at 12 p.m. Pacific. Until then, have a great day and bye.
There we go.
Okay.
Did you see that? Hands up looking. Oh, man. This is where I'm wondering if Mark Zaid is standing behind the camera right now and he's like, this does not look good, or you shouldn't have said that, or you should see chat right now. I can't believe that this was positive for him. Honestly, I think he was smart when he was keeping his head down and posting random pages from the past of comics that he's written on Twitter, and that being it, he should have just stayed quiet. This did not help his case at all. So last but not least, I wanted to wrap this video up and first say thank you so much to those of you who have been my early subscribers. I've really loved your support and your comments. Reading your comments has been great. I've learned a lot from you all, and I have a feeling that good things are about to happen. I'm committed to growing this channel, and I realize that this core group of subscribers that I have right now, it's been really motivating to me. And yeah, I wanted to thank you before the floodgates open and this channel becomes much larger. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I see things expanding. So tell me what you think about Mark Waid or Mark Zaid. What would you have said in this tweet? And if you're new to the channel, welcome. Please subscribe. It really helps me out. And I will see you next time.